Today's video is about wage and salary administration. Wages and salary. As we all know, the something a monetary compensation or a monetary package which is paid during a particular duration is called wages or salary. The workers are paid wages or salary for the work done by them. Thus, the return to the worker should be according to their effort and the pay standard prevailing in the industry. There are several theories of wage determination propounded by different scientists and are based on the varied assumptions. So these are the wage theory. There are 7 theories: subsistence theory, wage fund theory, surplus value theory, residual claimant theory, marginal productivity theory, bargaining theory, and behavioral theory. So first one is subsistence wage theory. This theory was propounded by David Ricardo and is called the theory of iron law of wages. So as per this theory, the laborer is paid the minimum amount of wage that is sufficient to subsist and perpetuate their race without either increase or decrease. As per this theory, he says that the wage should be at least a sufficient amount to subsist or perpetuate their race. It is based on the assumption that law of diminishing return applies to the industry and the population tends to increase. So if you make more population into the industry, reduce the salary. So this is the law of diminishing returns. If the labor is paid below the subsistence level, they will die out of malnutrition, disease, hunger, and therefore the number of workers get reduced. On the other hand, if the wage increases above the subsistence level, the number of workers will get attracted to procreate and thus will increase the labor, the wage rate comes down. So as per this subsistence theory he states that it should be the theory of the wage should be very minimal. As the employees grow, the wage should be reduced. So thus the subsistence level which is maintained and is not either increased or decreased. Wage fund theory. This theory was developed by Adam Smith. This theory is based on assumption that the wage is paid out the predetermined wealth or fund which lays surplus with a wealthy person as a result of saving. He says when we opt for a people, that is we pay for a wages when we have more fund or when we are very wealthy person. So as we have excess of fund with us and we are paying that to the wages. As per Adam Smith, the amount of wage to be paid to the worker depends on the size of the fund. Larger the fund, more labor would be employed and given higher wages. Whereas in case of less fund, the wage would be reduced to the subsistence level. So here he states that more when they are wealthy and when they have surplus enough money with them, they opt for more wages. They opt for more employees, and they provide them more money. This theory was further expounded by J.S. Mill, and according to him, the wage fund is fixed and the wage can be determined on the basis of demand and supply of labor. So demand depends on the demand and supply of the labor. The wages is not the same for all the labor. So where the labor varies, based on the demand of the labor, the cost varies. So for example, looking into a very artistic carpenter, we rarely get them. So in that case, the cost will be more on them. Likewise, the cement or the mason is very, you can easily find them. So in that case, the demand for them is more and the people are also more. The employees are also more. So in that case, the cost will be, demand will be high as well as the supply also will be high, and where the wages will be less. The same thing, if the demand is high and supply is less, so the wages will be high. So thus the fund size decides the demand for the labor. To have an increased wage, the number of labor is to be reduced and fund is to be enlarged. So for fund size demand, that is if you want to hire a employee, you have to reduce the number of labor so that you can have an increased wage for that person. That is wage fund theory. The next one is surplus value theory. This theory is given by Karl Marx. According to him, like other article, labor is also an article of commerce and could be purchased by paying subsistence price. So he says that a labor is also like other article, how you purchase an article from the shop, the labor is also an article where you pay the subsistence price for that product. The price of a product is determined by the amount of time a labor devotes for its production, and the proportion of the time spent on the labor on work is much less, and therefore paid a minimum price, and the surplus amount is utilized for the other expenses. So depends on the amount spent by the labor on the work. So when we hire a labor, we just explain them these are the work you are going to do. Based on the time they are going to spend, based on that the wages fixed. So surplus value theory is the higher the time spent, more the wages paid, less the time spent, less the wage paid. The next one is residual claimant theory. This theory is as per Francis A. Walker. As per him, there are 4 factors of production: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. The wage is amount given in return for the amount of production and thus is paid after the payment of all other factors. Thus, the wages is considered as a residual claimant and computed as wages equals to whole production minus rent, interest, and profit. So, as per him, he says that there are 4 factors of production: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. The wages amount where you pay with the end. First you need your land, you need your infrastructure, etc. And finally once the production is done, you are going to pay for the wages. So it is called as residual claimant, and this theory is called residual claimant theory. Marginal productivity theory. This theory is given by Philip Henry Wickstreet and John Bates Club. This theory is based on assumption that wages is determined on basis of last worker's contribution in the production, that is marginal production. When one product is produced, so the last worker's production contribution in the production is considered. This theory assumes that wage depends on demand for supply of labor. As far as the marginal productivity is equal to wage paid, a firm will continue employing more labor. Bargaining theory. John Davidson has given this theory. According to him, the wages are determined on the basis of bargaining capacity of workers or their unions or employers. So here, as per him, what he says is wages are determined on the basis of bargaining capacity, how the employer is bargaining with the employee or the unions bargain with their employees. So it depends on your bargaining power, the employer's bargaining power. If the trade union is stronger, then the wages will be high. If the employer is powerful, the wages tends to be low. So this is how powerful their bargaining is. Then the behavioral theory. Several behavioral scientists, March and Simon, Robert Dubin, Elliot Jacques, have presented their research on wages determination. According to them, there are various factors such as employers' concern for the workers, the strength of union, size and prestige of the company, etc., that determines the amount of wage to be dispersed among the workers. We all know this, that depends on the company, it depends on the prestige of the company, depends on the reputation of the company. The wage varies. Though the size or the work is the same, the cost or the wages varies as per the company's prestige or company's size, etc. Thank you.